did her crying sitting down because she couldn't stand on her own 2 feet. But anyway, she was completely crushed by this experience of she was that much younger than Gorky was, so she never consolidated. It's a progressive thing from Hodcom. Am I going on too long? No. Should I speak louder? He went from Hodcom, the city, the place where he was born, down here on the bottom right-hand corner of Lake Van, to Van City, and that was already a big. If you're looking for the biggest trauma in Gorky's life, it wasn't even, as far as we can tell, the genocide. It was being taken out of his lovely little village and taken to the mission school in Van, where for the first time he came into contact with Americans, who must have seemed very strange to him. His writing of English is good. It's excellent. It's beautiful. What he writes in English is pretty simple, but his handwriting is fine, which suggests that he must have learnt somewhere. He must have learnt how to write English and written quite a lot in English. But the material that remains is of strong simplicity, I think, and affection for his family, and contains nothing in the least bit sophisticated. This book, after it was very easy to assemble. The first draft, as I said, was assembled in 3 days, and the rest has been incredibly difficult, apart from the fact that many decisions had to be made regarding the translations and the transcriptions, and how much to annotate the various words. It took us a long time to admit as worthy of publication the very simple letters he wrote to his family in the summer of 1947. In the summer of 1947, Gorky's wife took the 2 children who were learning to roller skate in his studio, so they were, they got in the way. She took them up to Maine for a long holiday so that he could work, and he worked incredibly hard, knowing that when they came back in September, it would be very difficult to go on working. So he wrote these letters, and the letters are pretty. They wrote in English, and this is what is very interesting. In terms of style, very similar to the translations that Father Maksoudian has made from the Armenian. It's as if there's not much difference between his written knowledge of Armenian and his written knowledge of English. We're dealing with the same stylistic feel. But anyway, the book, which will be ready for the opening in Philadelphia, which takes place next week, contains all of Gorky's writings and enough of the documentation around Gorky, that is to say, book reviews or, exhibition reviews, Clement Greenberg, and so forth, for you to get a real feeling for the man without, as my mother-in-law tactfully put it, without any explanations, but with footnotes to arrange a little bit about things like arc and other things. I think that at this point, so.
Yes, aski share hayren chibidi hosin, mangaren bidi hosin, berjagernak hayren hosin. I want to thank you all for having me here tonight. It's been a pleasure. I've always had the opportunity to promote the arts, whether it's in the theater at the Merrimack Repertory Theater or at the university with music, and of course visual arts with the Whistler House Museum of Art. But I never thought I would be presented with this kind of opportunity to promote Arshile Gorky and his works. It has been a serendipitous journey for me, described by one reporter as being a magnificent obsession. And I'll take that. I think that's good. I think that's cool. I'd like to begin by citing a quote from Arshile Gorky's nephew, Krikor Maksoudian, because I believe it captures the drama that was and is Arshile Gorky. In another age and clime, the life of Arshile Gorky might have fascinated a Sophocles or Shakespeare with its incredibly made-to-order dramatic possibilities. Today it could provide the stuff for a long Hollywood film or a thick novel in the Russian or French tradition. And a claim can be proposed that no artist, including Van Gogh, has yet experienced such extremes of exhilaration and tragedy. Indeed, the life itself seems to offer as many themes for literature as the art it produced has contributed to aesthetic growth. The Whistler House Museum of Art's relationship with Arshile Gorky began in 1976, when Catherine O'Donnell Murphy, a former trustee of the Whistler House and an art student with Gorky in Boston at the New School of Design, gifted the Park Street Church, Boston, 1924, to the museum, making it a significant part of its 19th century and early 20th century permanent collection of American art. Who could have imagined that 28 years later, in 2004, we would be presented with the unique opportunity to acquire a private collection of works by this indisputable pioneer of American modern art, the vital link between European modern art and American abstract expressionism. 5 years in the making, drawings and paintings by Arshile Gorky, the Mina Boehm Metzger collection, named after a friend, patron, and student of Gorky's, is a valuable addition to the Whistler House Museum of Art. It contains works that span Arshile Gorky's early artistic career, showcasing this noteworthy artist as a seminal figure in the movement towards abstraction that ultimately transformed American art. The exhibit presents the only surviving stone sculpture executed by the artist in his career. It's fascinating. It is significant in that these works trace his progression as an artist, featuring the painting influences of the great modern European masters, including Cézanne, Picasso, Matisse, and Miro. The most famous survivor of the Armenian genocide, if you think about it, he is the most famous survivor of the Armenian genocide. Arshile Gorky was ahead of his time both artistically and intellectually. Equipped with an innate poetic ability to capture his words and thoughts on canvas, Gorky sought to broaden human awareness and understanding of the world around him. The maturity shown in his works of the 1940s was so original, deliberate, and eclectic that many could not understand or comprehend his achievement. He provided inspiration and stylistic direction for many artists of the next generation, including Pollock, Rothko, and de Kooning, but was overshadowed by the fanfare that greeted their success in the New York School and the art-loving public. Today, on further study, Arshile Gorky is being assessed significantly by art critics and historians alike. This month, as you've been told, the Philadelphia Museum of Art will present a major retrospective exhibition and study on Gorky, entitled Arshile Gorky, a Retrospective. It opens next Thursday, October 15. After its opening in Philadelphia, the exhibit will travel to the Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles, for all of the Armenians and people out there, and the Tate Modern in London, and is the first significant survey of his works in almost 30 years.